Carpenter. I lead the Sunday ride here at the Bike Rack. We go out every Sunday morning at about 8:45. In addition to that, I'm a member of the Bike Rack race team. The team started as an outgrowth of the Sunday shop ride. The shop ride has just been a great deal of fun. We get together every Sunday morning. We do about a 40-45 mile ride. It's instructive. Nobody gets dropped. We all have a good time and get in a good ride. The objectives for winter riding, it's a bit open. It sort of depends on what the reason you're doing it. I think for a lot of the guys who are on the team, especially the newer guys on the team, the objective of the winter training season is really to get you set up to where when the springtime comes and the warm weather comes, you're ready to go hard, you're ready to ride fast, you're ready to race yourself to the next level where instead of going for power in the springtime, then you get to start going for speed. Biggest problem, I think, is, at least at the amateur recreational racing level, is that they just don't take it seriously enough. They don't have a structure to the winter cycling regimen. That's why having a schedule laid out in advance, week by week, month by month, of interval workouts of different types can really help people, set people up for the springtime. I think intervals are really at the core of any serious training schedule that you can develop for yourself. Basically speaking, an interval is a set of efforts where you're going to be putting in an effort, trying to maximize that effort, and then taking some time to recover. And then going back to the effort, putting in the effort, and then taking some time to recover. That's basically what any type of interval is. They can be longer types of effort, longer types of rest and recovery, shorter types of effort, shorter types of recovery, but ultimately an interval workout is one that comprises an amount of effort, then amount of recovery, then amount of effort, then amount of recovery. So a big part for me of wintertime training is developing your power, is developing your strength. So one way of doing this is to do interval workouts where you're in the big chain ring, typically on a racing bike, a 53-tooth chain ring, and maybe the smallest cog, a 12-tooth cog. And you start off as close to a standstill as possible. If you're on a trainer, you can literally start off at 0, and then for about 90 seconds, maybe a minute, maybe 90 seconds, you'll go as hard as you can from 0. You're starting off very, very slow with the pedals. You've got the most resistance you can, and so you're building the strength, you're building the power. By the end of the 90 seconds, your legs are screaming, your lugs are screaming, and then you go into the recovery stage and you spin easily to recover for about 90 seconds again, and then you go right back into it, and this is going to build up that explosive power, that intense strength. So one of the great things that intervals are good for is to be able to allow you to have repeated amounts of effort in any sort of ride. So if you're in a race, you'll have a surge, there'll be an attack, you'll cover it, you'll recover, there'll be another one to cover. So interval workout that I really like to do is one where it's about 2 minutes on and 2 minutes off of recovery. And the 2 minutes on, it's short enough where you can go very, very hard, very intense, and then the 2 minutes off, you're trying to recover completely. And then you go back for 2 minutes on, as intense as you can go for 2 minutes, and then 2 minutes of recovery. And what this will do, it'll build in that ability for you to recover after an effort. If you think about going up a hill on a ride, you're really hard, it's really tiring, but then you get to the top, you're going to have to look around and see if there's anybody that you need to cover an attack for. This type of effort will really allow you to recover in time to cover the next attack. So when I think about getting an interval workout that's for sustained power, I usually think about 5 minutes on, 5 minutes of power output, and then 5 minutes off, 5 minutes of recovery. So for the 5 minutes on, you got to be a bit careful that you don't go so hard in the beginning that you can't keep the effort going for the full 5 minutes. So it's going to be a little bit easier than you anticipate in the beginning, but by the time you get to the end of the 5 minutes, you're working really, really hard. And then the 5 minutes of recovery, again, you don't want to shut down at the very beginning. What you want to do is let yourself ease off, bring the intensity down so that by the end of the 5 minutes you've recovered and you're ready to go back in for the effort. Clear, I think the sort of schedule that we've talked about and that we've laid out is best for an entry-level cyclist. I think when someone starts to progress and they get to the higher levels of racing, having a dedicated coach, having a dedicated power measured type of workout schedule is really what's going to take them to the next level. But for somebody who's getting into the sport, getting into competitive racing, this is the sort of general type of workout that's really going to help them get into the sport, really get into racing at a higher level.